human.
KFAN welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
For two amazing shows at Target Center on December 28th at 3 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. Get complete show details, including a link to buy tickets at KFAN.com keyword calendar.
Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, it's my cue to throw to Tennessee with a little 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1. NFL no huddle.
Oh boy, I better be ready.
The Chiefs dropped to 6-7 after a 2010 loss to the Texans last night. Common, is the Chiefs dynasty over?
Well, there was someone I worked with who thought it was going to be the Chiefs and the Vikings in the big game, and we were on our own after that. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but you never know. Both teams are still mathematically alive. I don't mind. My favorite part was there are people that get so touchy. So I'm watching the game. I'm a NFL rube. I watched 3 games. I'll watch Vikings, Commanders. I watched Bears, Packers. Bears, Packers was such a good football game. The result wasn't what I wanted, but it was a terrific football game. And then last night, Chiefs, Texans. I just love defense. Defense wins championships. You saw last night the better defense beat the better offense. And so there were 3 early in the game. There were 3 consecutive penalties against the Texans. So again, I know there's not a conspiracy, but I like going with it anyway. So I go 3 penalties in a row against the Texans, playing the Chiefs. And one guy says, maybe worry about your own bleep team and golf game. So then I go, I was curious. So then I click his profile. It says Royals, Chiefs, and Razorbacks. Is there anything else? So in other words, sports. And his feelings were hurt. He was bitter with me because I was making the accusation that the fix was in. And you know the fix isn't in, but the league wants Kansas City in the big game.
Oh, yeah. No Pat Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson maybe in this year's playoffs.
No Travis Kelce / Tay-Tay.
Yeah.
I mean, they want it so bad. And I understand that. I mean, I'll use my sister as an example. She doesn't know who C.J. Stroud is. She knows who Pat Mahomes is. So she's more likely to watch the big game because of that, right? And other people are as well. Oh, it's Pat Mahomes again. Oh, yeah, and Kelce, and Big Andy Reid.
My wife's bored with it now, but the first couple times Taylor Swift was going to Chiefs games, my wife was wanting to watch it to see if she could get a glimpse of Tay-Tay.
Exactly. So they want him to win. I don't mind a change into the guard. Now, I don't think this means there's still a chance they could qualify for the playoffs. It doesn't look very likely. I don't think they're done either. Not as long as Pat Mahomes is still Pat Mahomes, and as long as Andy Reid's around to make, that's a decade of dominance, right? So, but yeah, I don't mind seeing other teams. I really don't. I got to admit, I'm a little bored of it.
Jordan Love threw 3 touchdowns, 2 of them to Christian Watson as the Packers beat the Bears 28-21. They now sit atop the NFC North. Common, are you ready to declare the Green Bay Packers as the best team in the NFC North?
Well, yeah, and it surprises me because who's this Jordan Love guy? Why would they draft him? I'm still accepting apologies from listeners and Packer fans that ripped me for, when I said, do you remember when they drafted Jordan Love? 90% of Packer fans were up in arms. What are you doing? We've got a chance to win a big game here. You need to get another wide receiver for Aaron. No, Aaron needs to make the wide receivers better. That's what his job is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And I just love, and you know what? If I don't blow my own horn, who will?
By the way, the Packers did draft Christian Watson for Aaron Rodgers, and he proceeded to ignore him the first season because he dropped the first pass of the year.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And so I'll say it, and this is the way I always phrase it. the general manager is the caretaker of the franchise. And if he thinks he's identified the next franchise quarterback, it is incumbent upon him to draft him no matter what. No matter what. And that's what they've done. They were raving about him last night, not only during the game, but on the post game. They're all talking about he might be right now playing the best quarterback in all of pro football. And that could very well be. It doesn't hurt when you have an offensive line like that in a running game. That's a good team, and their defense is so good. And we talked last week about how young that roster is. Viking fans, take notice. That team's going to be around for a while. I don't think they're going anywhere.
The Steelers outlasted the Ravens 27-22. They now have a one-game edge in the AFC North. Common, are the Ravens donezo?
Yeah, I think they could very well, and that doesn't bother me either. I mean, again, I don't have anything against Lamar and King Henry or that team in general, but every year I'd like to see Buffalo get bounced. You know, I mean, I just want to see fresh blood.
I think this might end up being the year Buffalo makes it because Josh Allen's not going to have a Mahomes to go against anymore. Lamar Jackson, the quarterbacks are going to be there.
That is correct.
Right, it's going to be a very young Drake May.
Yes,
who hasn't gone through the postseason experience. What, Trevor Lawrence and Bo Nix?
Yeah.
And I mean, Josh Allen's by far going to be the best quarterback.
Yeah, you're absolutely right in that. And they may be the team that does that. What was your question, by the way? I'm sorry.
Ravens Steelers.
Oh, well, you know, let's twist it back to the Vikings and KOC. You know, when I said I was really adamant about the Vikings keeping Sam Darnold. We also talked at the time when Aaron Rodgers expressed interest. That actually would have been the best answer, right? Because if you really didn't want to sign Sam Darnold to a 3-year expensive deal because you wanted McCarthy to be the guy, Aaron would have come for 1 year at $10 million. He just wanted to play with the team that he thought had the Vikings were his first choice. Now, with all the injuries, it might not have made any difference. I don't know if Aaron, you know, with the offensive line injuries, if that makes any difference. If the Vikings would have ended up basically with the same record now, maybe a game or two better with Rodgers. But that would have been the solution to look at the kid. And people were telling me, well, you can't do that because you might make JJ angry. Oh, no, not that. Anything but that. You just tell the kid, I got a chance to bring in a Hall of Famer. You get to work under a... The kid would have probably been starry-eyed and said, I mean, I get to learn from Aaron Rodgers and watch what he does. I might be able to go on a darkness retreat with him and share a jug of ayahuasca. I'm in. That's what they should have done. And Rodgers was really good again yesterday. Not spectacular, and he's got some rust, right? You know, he's got wear and tear. He's like your, you know, he's not a California Cadillac. You know, even though he's from California, he's the one that you bought Minnesota 12 months out of the year for 10, 12, 15 years. You start rusting out a little bit. But he still got cunning and guile, and he was good yesterday, and they beat the Ravens. So, yeah. I like
Question number 2.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
The Wolves have won 5 in a row after beating the LA Clippers 109-106 Saturday night at Target Center. Anthony Edwards scored just 15 points on 3 of 11 shooting, but Jaden McDaniels led the Wolves at 27 points. Julius Randle scored 24, and Naz Reid added 19 off the bench, including a big 3 late. Common, what sticks out to you from the Wolves' win?
Just the same old, same old. They get a win, though. Right, okay. You know, I think someone texted me, a friend of mine who's a big Wolves guy. He does the stacking and gelling all the time, and he sent me after that win, it says, second longest winning streak in the association right now. Second longest winning streak. And then I texted back for now. The team is lazy. They're bored. They've admitted it. But they won. And, you know, that's what, I guess, good team. They are a good team when they're all connected and they put their best foot forward and play as if they are interested. They're a good basketball team. They are a playoff caliber club that should be better than a 6 seed that they were last year. We know all the reasons why, because of the lackadaisical effort against really bad teams. They gave away too many games. They're doing it now. If the playoffs started today, I think they're the 6th seed, and that's okay because even 2 years they were a 6 seed and they got to the Western Conference Finals. So I just like the way I just like the way the Nuggets play. Here's their headline from the same night. Thunder win 14th straight behind SGA's 33. It says SGA made 10 of 12 field goals, 11 of 12 free throws to help the Thunder improve to 22-1 overall. He scored at least 20 points for the 95th straight game. That's the second longest streak in league history behind Wilt Chamberlain's 126 from 61 to 63. So he's at 95. It's there. It's a ways to go. And it just takes one game of being cold or maybe tweaking something, but he's got 95 consecutive games.
Is he like one of the most anonymous best player in their leagues that we've seen? Well, you could argue he's the best player in the league.
Yes, you could.
And nobody talks about him. He just won a championship.
Yep.
He's got a team that's got one loss. Nobody talks about him.
That team plays like 16-year-old kids, it appears to me. They play with enthusiasm, with a joy for the game. They play with a poised and polished professionalism, wanting to repeat again. They don't take any team for granted. They don't take nights off. They play hard every single. They're not bored. They're not bored winning basketball games. So they're a pleasure to watch. They really are. We'll break. We'll come back.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Got a quote from a former Viking quarterback about the Vikings quarterback situation. It raises some interesting issues. It's controversial, to say the least.
That's interesting.
We'll do it next. Common Man program on the Fan.
God rest ye merry gentlemen.
Minnesota, the state of hockey, hosts the World this winter. The 2026 IIHF World Juniors bring the best young talent from across the globe to our backyard. Be part of the celebration. Get your tickets now at mnsportsandevents.org.
Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
I'm going to go into my Abe Vigoda a bit now. Chad Abbott would be the concierge, David Duvall playing Tom Hagen. Not to be confused with Bob, time for 2 more Hagen. Can you do a verification code again for old time's sake? Because I just lost Hip Cricket. I don't know what happened. It's just gone.
Yeah, usually after like an hour and a half or like an hour or so, time's out and you have to reload it.
Why is that? What is so secretive and so special about the Hip Cricket, the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line? It's like, do they think it's like, what was that? It didn't like, wasn't there some controversy where the U.S. military was planning some type of, they had some plan and they did it over something called Signal?
Yes.
Is that what this is? Is like what we're doing so top secret that this is like, it's like, why can't it just be the way it was before?
Well, I always find it hilarious, like, for your email, basically like every 3 months you have to change your password.
Yes.
And I don't want to keep changing my password.
Yeah.
Like, there's no state secrets inside of my email.
Right.
I'm not worried about anyone coming in and getting information from my email.
Correct. That is correct.
So I don't need to change the password every 3 months.
I couldn't agree with you more. But there it is, sitting there. So I don't know. I can't communicate. So close circuit to Chad Abbott, for old time's sake. Can you let me off the hook? He probably doesn't want to enable me again. By the way, do you know where, by any chance, and if not, maybe you could just
Any
Google it
indication?
quick. Any indication where the Final Four is this year? The NCAA men's basketball Final Four. Now, I'll tell you why I ask. Brackets.
Looks like we're at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Bracket64.com just finished their 64 podcast tournament. Best sports talk show / podcast in the country. And you'll find this as a shock. The Power Trip Morning Show.
You've got to be kidding me.
They won. I wonder how many votes they beat me by. Do we have any indication?
They didn't give us any tallies.
They don't do any tallies. You know what? Why? because not that many people probably voted because they just don't care.
We lost 55 to 43.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, we probably got beat by more than that. The power trip, they've got a strong, as loyal and as strong a following. They're hypnotized. They've been drugged. They're like the movie, I brought this up before, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1958 or 9, where these pods were put under people's bed, then an exact duplicate would replace you. And then it would be like the robot voice we do all the time. I really love KOC and the Vikings. I think everything they've done is perfect. They've never done anything wrong. They just miscalculated a couple of things. That's not fair. And that's what these robots, these people who would come out of the pod would do the same thing. The only reason I'm saying is because it's been revealed, it's been announced, it's come to my attention that the Power Trip Morning Show was voted the best podcast in the country. So knowing our promotion staff and the coroner's office and Lil B, they'll be, hey, join the Power Trip as they celebrate the Final Four, just like their Final Four at Lucas Oil Stadium. There'll be this big trip planned for Indianapolis, which is fine because I wouldn't want to go to Indianapolis. So I'm
also guessing at some point in the next week in the KFAN press box area, they're going to have like some sort of party celebration. Hey, we're going to bring some food to celebrate the Power Trip and their big achievement.
And then guess what? The food will be something yucky that you don't like. And that's what they'll probably do. Vikings win yesterday. They drubbed was it 31 Zippo, the final score, 31 meat sauce? And as I mentioned yesterday or earlier today in my tweet, it right away it came to my attention. I thought they might shut out the Commanders, and the week before they were shut out, and that's exactly what happened. It's never happened in franchise history. As a matter of fact, I think somebody else did a note, and I don't know what I did with it, but it's the first time it's happened since like 1992 that a team would get shut out one week, and the following week they would win via shutout. And so it doesn't happen very often. And it's the first time in franchise history. Vikings look very good. They dumbed down the offense for J.J. McCarthy, tell him to play like a 16-year-old and stop worrying about your mechanics. And he goes out there and they win, and he posts his best numbers and has his best overall performance of his young career. His best moments still were that fourth quarter in his first game ever against the Bears. That was very, very good. But overall, start to finish, obviously, yesterday. Before that game, Tenby, and I'm not sure where I came across this quote that I saved. It's either from Fish Wrap East, Fish Wrap West, or The Athletic or CBS Sports, one of them. And now, of course, I can't find it again. But give me a second, I will. Why does this happen to me all the time? It's like losing hip cricket. Here it is. So I'll read these three paragraphs. There's quotes from former Minnesota Viking quarterback and one-time National Football League MVP when he quarterbacked the Oakland Raiders to a big game appearance, Rich Gannon. Here's what the three paragraphs say. The hope, no, the expectation for this year was a seamless transition with reigning NFL Coach of the Year Kevin O'Connell, McCarthy coming off a knee injury that wiped out his entire rookie season, and $300 million worth of veteran free agent signings. That was the expectation, a seamless transition. Here's what Gannon said. It was the perfect storm. Sam plays great, meaning Darnold. It's Kevin's the quarterback whisperer. Throw anybody in there and he can make them Johnny Unitas or Fran Tarkington. I live in Minnesota. People asking me in the summer, can JJ take them to the big game? I'm like, guys, you have no idea how hard this is. There were unrealistic expectations on JJ. Now, Rich Gannon doesn't have all the answers. Now, I do, or at least like to think I do. But Gannon and I, we both have great quarterbacking minds. He says there was unrealistic expectations in JJ. And, at the end of the day, now it's just one football season. It's come and gone. I think for me, what's maybe alarming is too strong of a word, but what's disappointing is coming off the kind of season they had. And they were bringing back most everybody, except they decided not to come back with the quarterback, but they were coming back with most everybody. And then they added some pieces that they thought, and the guys they got, I bought into it. They were all veteran players who had all established themselves as quality football players, albeit they were coming off injuries, most of them. But you thought, well, maybe this will work. Because if you buy into the quarterback whisperer stuff, and other young quarterbacks have gotten off to a pretty quick start. But obviously, as Gannon said, the expectations were too much. So we just threw away a year, is really what we did. And then that begs the question, which was not asked at the news conference, that I don't know if it'll ever be asked of the head coach. Should you have dumbed it down and not worried about mechanics early in the year? Or when did you know the mechanics weren't there? Because I would have thought you would have saw that in combine or when you had him for workouts or watching film when he played for Michigan. So I don't understand. But, that's now water under the bridge. So I just think it needs to be, we need to at least, wrap it in a bow, as long as the holiday season is here. And then, put a cherry on top and kind of wrap it up. I just think that the miscalculation really hurt I don't know what this team would have done had they kept Sam Darnold, signed Aaron Rodgers, Danny Dimes. I don't know. But it certainly couldn't have been worse than what we went through this year. But maybe now we have 4 games left. Is that correct, Tenneby?
Just 4.
And they are, I know the last 2 are at home against Detroit, Chicago.
We're at Dallas this week, then at New York against the Giants.
Or is it Detroit, Green Bay, right? We finished?
Detroit, then Green Bay.
Yeah, so it's Dallas on Sunday night. And did you say it's at their place or our place?
It's at Dallas, yes.
And then next game, I'm sorry.
At New York Giants.
At New York Giants. And so then, these will be good tests. I know Dallas's defense was better for a couple of weeks. And then their last outing was awful. Detroit just ran roughshod.
But they're still playing for something.
But they are playing for something. Giants, those guys are kind of in the same boat we are. So you have 2 teams. They still seem to be a little more interested than Washington was, but I don't know. And then, by then, we don't know what kind of a situation the Kitties will be in. The Kitties could be, that win against Dallas keeps their hopes alive, but they're still on the outside looking in. And they're playing the Rams this week, Tenneby, and I just don't see them, especially with Branch out with a torn Achilles. I just don't see how they can slow down Matty Stafford, Nuka Kapuka, Nuka Hulaka, Bulu Si Bagumba, Nuka Puka Nakua. Is that how you say it?
Puka Nakua.
Puka, and then who's the other guy? Former
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. I don't know how they stop that club or slow them down. I just don't know how they do. So in other words, a Lions team that might be out of it. I'd rather the Vikings, though, play the Lions with McCarthy, with the Lions needing to win, because that makes it, then you're playing, you're not playing a team that's going through the motions, right? And then same thing with the final game with Green Bay. My guess is the Green Bay game, they'll be a clinched a playoff spot, but they will be looking for seeding at that point. So we'll see how it goes over the next 4 weeks. We'll break. We'll come back with a little Distat Lot here in the Common Man program on the Fan.
Yeah.
They did it. The Power Trip has won the prestigious 64.com bracket as the greatest morning show and podcast of all time. You can celebrate them buying an Audio Champion shirt, hat, or celebration towel at KFAN.com. And stay tuned for how you can join the Power Trip and their families on a celebration cruise this spring as KFAN and iHeartMedia send the show on an unforgettable, all-inclusive Caribbean cruise. They won on the air. Now you can celebrate with them everywhere. Congratulations to the world champion Power Trip Morning Show from the proud residents of Minnesota and all here at KFAN.
I don't think it's enough. I just don't think
I always loved that one.
We knew it was coming, but I just don't think it's enough. I think that's, for what they accomplished, that's just not much of a celebration to me. That's like if you won, if you decided to spend big fat stacks of booster provided cash in New York City in the Final Four, the NIT. That's like NIT stuff. This ain't bracket 64. They should all be given lifetime contracts with blank checks, whatever you want. That's how good they are.
Don't they already have those?
They probably do. That's a very good point. Is there still a hockey team with like one loss or something like that? Who was the team that was just?
I mean, I haven't monitored over the weekend, but the Colorado Avalanche were in that category. Yes.
Because I was about to say, who do you think right now?
One regulation loss.
One regulation.
Yeah.
I was about to ask, what?
Actually, they got two now.
What team in North American sports, as we speak, would you say is the very best team? And I would say it's the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Sure.
They're like 22-1. They take it serious. They're poised, polished, professional, blah, 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 blah. And I tried to come up with a comparison, and the only thing I could come up with would be Nordo and I in Program Password this past Friday. How connected were we? How good was that performance? I mean, that was almost flawless. I mean, it wasn't a perfect game. You know, I'm not suggesting that we were Mr. Zero. We weren't the Wall in St. Paul, who, by the way, had some trouble the other night. But, you know, that's going to happen. I mean, but I'm not saying we were Frank Brimsick-like. But Tennessee, we basically destroyed.
Deconstructed.
We deconstructed Golden Caleb Truax in the Grimmer. It was a really good performance. I could tell that you were even impressed.
You and Dorda got some chemistry.
Yeah, we do have some chemistry. Maybe, I don't know. Probably end up doing a Program Password Invitational Tournament again.
Should we start changing it to like the actual Jeopardy show that the winner gets to return next week, right?
Oh, that would be kind
Just
of...
bring him back.
We might do that.
Don't have to have the schedule to do that,
that's
but
true. That's
you know,
no problem. Well,
tell your wife, hey, sorry, I've got to miss the 10th consecutive Friday. I've won again.
Well, I mean, wouldn't the company like pay him money to come in? But okay, that's probably not going to happen.
If we get like a sponsor or something, we give like gift cards to every time they come in.
It's not a bad idea. Minnesota Golden Gophers were awarded a bowl game. They accepted Guarantee Bowl, playing New Mexico. I played against New Mexico. Rate Bowl is that what it's called. Did it used to be the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, and now it's just the Rate Bowl?
I thought I read Rate Bowl when I was reading this story today.
That's what I know, but did they just shorten it? Did Guaranteed drop out? Was there a split in the company? I don't know, because I would have. It used to be called the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, but it's called the Rate Bowl.
They can't guarantee that rate anymore.
Well, maybe that's what it's. Wait, hold on. Game is scheduled for Phoenix, Arizona.
So in 2020, Guaranteed Rate signed on as the title sponsor of the game, renaming it as the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. But in October 2024, the game became the Rate Bowl as the part of a company rebrand.
Okay. The game is scheduled for December 26th in Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma, Philadelphia, Atlanta, L.A.
We should do a Guaranteed Human Bowl.
Northern California, where the girls are warm. And I meet my sweet baby, yeah, keep on rocking. Keep on rocking me, baby. They're playing New Mexico, a team they never played before, and they're really, really excited about that game.
Do you want to know all the names this bowl has been?
Yeah, sure.
Copper Bowl through 1996, then the Insight.com Bowl, then the Insight Bowl, then the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl, then the Cactus Bowl, then the Cheez-It Bowl, Guaranteed Rate Bowl, and now Rate Bowl.
It seems like the former sponsors have as much interest as the teams do, or at least some teams. There are 3 schools, at least, and counting, that have decided, thanks but no thanks. They have not accepted bowl bids. That would be the Fighting Irish and Notre Dame. They're bitter. They call it a gut punch. They were not invited to the 12-team season-ending tournament. I think they finished with a record of 10-2. They lost their first 2 games of the season. Every game since then, they won by like 30-plus points. Now, they don't have a conference ending. They're not in a conference. They're an independent. So they did not have a conference championship game like the versus Indiana, right? So they didn't get that extra chance, I guess, to impress the selectors. And I don't know who these people are, how many of the, I don't know if there's probably a list of names available somewhere, I would think. But there's a group of, they sit up on high. Maybe they're like, they're like Supreme Court justices. They decide, they bestow berths on the 12 teams. I guess some are automatic, I think. 2 other teams that decided not to take bowl games were K-State and Iowa State. Said we're out. Both teams are getting new head coaches. So I think that's been given as one of the reasons. Iowa State and Kansas State each got fined $500,000 by the Big 12 for opting out of bowls because of coaching changes. Though I did see a story where Iowa State said they took a vote amongst the players, and they have so many injuries too, they don't feel like they can field a healthy team. I don't know if K-State has that same reason. I think the dirty little secret is, I think there's a lot of different moving parts here, Tennessee. One is a lot of these guys are waiting to see what kind of nil money they're going to get first before they're going to play again, right? Am I getting nil money? No one wants to play in that last game and get hurt. Also, I think this is just the truth of the matter. I think a lot of the kids on these teams don't want to play another game. They've already played 12 rugged games. Guys are laying out the line. Guys are in the training rooms, and it doesn't work. These guys it's a very physical game. It takes a lot out of you. You get beat up. Every guy is beat up. And to now have to practice for 3 or 4 more weeks.
For a meaningless game. For
a meaningless game. These games, folks, they are not rewards for good seasons. A 6-6 season is not a good season. 7-5 is not a good season. They are now searching for 5-7 teams again to fill the 2 teams that don't want, the 3 teams that don't want to go. Just like the Gophers went last year as a 5-7 team, and they were selected over another 5-7 team, if I'm not mistaken, because of their academic excellence, which is great. You should be. They actually should reward teams with academic excellence rather than wins and losses on the field, but then you might get some sloppy games that aren't so good. The truth of the matter is most of these players don't want to practice for 3 or 4 more weeks and go play in a meaningless bowl game and
risk injury.
Yeah. And why would you? Yeah. It's ridiculous. So maybe now this is starting to come to a head where we're going to have to limit the bowl games. And we know why they're done. They are done to fill empty slots on ESPN and who else? I don't know if it's just ESPN, the Ocho, whoever it is. All these sports your whole life, just sports television networks need games. And I don't even know. You must either really love college football or have no life. If you're going to if you have no attachment to New Mexico or Minnesota.
Why would you watch that game?
Would you watch that game the day after Christmas on Friday? Why? Read a book. I just read a great book called Anatomy of a Song. I was talking about with Brian Oak on Rock Talk last week. Read a book.
I'm kind of in the market for a book for Christmas.
Oh,
would like to get one as a gift. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I'd like to tell you that being the common man, the best of the lousiest, the best is for sale, but it's sold out.
Oh no!
Yeah. No! I was actually waiting for this one. Yeah, it's not available. There's just no interest in these games. I have watched more college football in the last 2 or 3 years, 4 years, than I've watched in my entire life combined. Because Deuce went to, do you know what the N on the side of the Nebraska helmet stands for?
What's that?
Knowledge. He went to Nebraska for 4 years. It's been fun to follow Nebraska. They are a team that I don't track many other college football teams. I guess the only ones I pay attention to are Nebraska, because that's where baby brother Peter still goes. He's in his junior year. And then the University of Minnesota, just because it's the team in town, and we do a sports is your whole life just sports talk show. And Nebraska's fun to watch because it seems like almost every game, they're in it. And they find, they're Lions-like in that they find
unique
and bizarre ways to lose football games. And it's kind of fun that way. But if one of those 3 teams is not involved now, I did watch in Indiana. That was a really good football game, and defense was king. I know that I'm in the minority. Most people like offense in football because fantasy football dominates football. Certainly, I don't know. I'm sure they must have fantasy football for college football too, don't they?
It's not as popular,
right, but they probably do.
They have fantasy for everything.
Right. And so that's where you get your points. And so people like it. And then people just like explode. They like long pass. They're fascinated by the quarterback drops back to pass, throws a long arching, but in McCarthy's case, it's a bullet. But everybody else throws a long arching, long pass. He catches it. And it is amazing. Like yesterday, there was this is every NFL game. I'm going to do a little idolizing to pedestalize. Every NFL game, this happens a half a dozen times. Quarterback makes a throw that you cannot believe he can fit it into a window, and the receiver makes some miraculous catch, and you go, how does he get the ball to him? How does he catch it, hang on to it, and get his feet down in bounds? It is amazing, but that's what people like. I liked yesterday's Kansas City versus Texans game was so good. Green Bay, even though there was some offense, particularly in the second half, there was more offense. But the offense was hard-earned, man. It was fun to watch, and that Ohio State-Indiana game was really, really good. I feel bad for the Ohio State kicker. I think it happened to him last year against Michigan, too. And then maybe Brother Peter said it happened the year before. Missed chip shot. They could have tied the game at 13, and he missed a 27-yard field goal, I think. Pulled it wide left. The only thing he can fall back on as an individual player, the team itself, is that game didn't eliminate them from postseason. It was like, well, your season's over now.
Sure.
I mean, the loser of that game was
affects the seeding.
They were going to either be the 1 or the 2 seed. The winner was going to get the 1. The loser was going to get the 2, unless it would have been a rout. Let's say one of the teams would have blown out the other one. The team that got blown out might drop to 3 or 4. But they weren't going to lose, so the kid might get a chance to redeem himself. But it just goes to show you, Tenneby, how the Gophers can't wait to go play a bowl game, because that's where their program is. PJ hangs his hat on that. We're in another bowl game. Made another bowl game. Every year we're in a bowl game. That's great. The Iowa State says, and the Kansas State says, and the Notre Dame said, I'm not playing in Rate Bowl. I'm not playing in the Copper Bowl. I'm not playing in the...
It's a consolation round.
Yeah, it's a consolation. Yeah. I'm not playing in any of that stuff. And I do think Notre Dame had a legitimate complaint. I mean, don't lose your first 2 games, I guess. But how about Alabama? How did they get in? And they didn't even perform. They got crushed by Oklahoma. Did they not? Was it 28?
Georgia, right?
Or Georgia. Yeah. Was it 28-7 or 28-14? They were never in that game, really. They have 3 losses and they're in. How does James... We'll talk about that. Other side of the break, we'll talk a little bit more college football. We got Wild and Wolves to get to, some more thoughts on the Vikings and the NFL, and much more here on the Common Man program on The Fan.